This is a conversation between Johnny, an international student studying in Japan, and Shota, a Japanese man. Their English is clear and relatively easy to follow, so try to relax, enjoy the conversation, and learn both English and Japanese culture at the same time.
Hey Shota, I finally finished reading parts 1 through 3 of JoJo.
Oh wow. Seriously? That was much faster than I expected.
Yeah, once I started reading, I kind of couldn't stop.
Haha, see? I told you JoJo was addictive.
Honestly, what surprised me the most was how different each part felt. Even though they were connected through the Joestar family, the atmosphere changed a lot every time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes JoJo so unique. Each part almost feels like a completely different series.
And just like you said before, Part 3 completely changed the battle style once Stans appeared. The fight suddenly became much more strategic and unpredictable.
Exactly. Before Part 3, the battles were more direct and physical, but after Stans were introduced, the fights became more psychological.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Sometimes it felt less like a normal action manga and more like a puzzle.
That's actually a perfect way to describe it. There are so many memorable scenes in Part 3 though. Which battle did you enjoy the most?
That's honestly difficult to answer. Part 3 had so many crazy fights. I especially remember the enemy that entered inside someone's eye.
You mean J-Gil's stand. Yeah, that battle was really memorable. I remember being genuinely impressed by the way they finally figured out how to defeat him.
While I was reading it, I kept wondering, how are they even supposed to defeat someone like that?
That's classic JoJo. The enemy abilities often seem impossible to beat at first.
Exactly. Some of them felt completely unfair.
Yeah, but then the characters somehow find clever solutions. That's what makes the battle so satisfying. One thing I personally love about JoJo is that even simple abilities can become really interesting. The characters always have to think carefully about how to outsmart their opponents.
Yeah, the fights definitely require more thinking than I expected.
And honestly, parts 4 and 5 become even more like that. The battles get increasingly creative and complicated.
That sounds exciting.
It is. Although sometimes the abilities become so complicated that you need to reread certain chapters.
Honestly, that already happened to me a few times in Part 3.
Haha, then you're already having the real JoJo experience.
By the way, the Japanese sound effects were really interesting too. Things like ORA ORA and MUDA MUDA. What do those actually mean?
Oh, good question. You noticed that pretty quickly. JoJo is especially famous in Japan for its unusual sound effects and expressions.
Yeah, they really stood out to me.
To be honest though, it's surprisingly hard to explain their exact meanings. They're less about literal translation and more about emotion and intensity.
So they're more about the feeling of the scene?
Exactly. For example, MUDA literally means useless, but in JoJo it feels more like an aggressive battle cry.
That makes sense. Honestly, those expressions make the manga feel really unique.
Yeah, and once you start reading JoJo, those sounds stay in your head forever.
I've already caught myself saying ORA ORA in my head sometimes. Haha.
Haha, see? It's already too late for you.
And another thing. Why does everyone pose in such dramatic ways all the time?
Those are called JoJo poses.
There's actually a name for them?
Yeah. They became really famous even outside Japan. A lot of fans tried copying them in photos or cosplay.
Honestly, some of those poses look physically impossible.
Haha, that's true. But that dramatic style is part of JoJo's identity.
It almost feels influenced by fashion photography sometimes.
Exactly. The author Araki Sensei was heavily inspired by fashion and art.
So what is part 4 about? Could you explain it a little, without spoilers?
Sure. You know how part 3 had a very large-scale adventure, right? The characters traveled across multiple countries.
Yeah, it felt huge.
Exactly. But part 4 is much more localized. The story mainly takes place in a single Japanese town.
Oh, that's completely different.
Yeah, and the town is modeled after Sendai in Japan. That's why many JoJo fans consider Sendai to be a kind of sacred place.
That's really interesting.
In Japan, there's actually a term called Seichi Junrei, which means visiting real-life locations connected to anime or manga.
Oh, I've heard about anime fans doing that before.
Yeah, for fans, it can feel really emotional visiting those places in person. Part 4 also has a very famous manga artist character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, many fans believe he was inspired by the JoJo creator himself, Araki-sensei.
That's actually really cool.
He became so popular that he even got his own spin-off stories and live-action adaptations.
Wow.
And, interestingly enough, Part 8 also takes place in a version of the same town, so there are connections between Parts 4 and 8 as well.
That's amazing. The world building sounds much deeper than I expected.
Also, the main villain in Part 4 is considered one of the best villains in the entire series.
Really? Now I'm even more interested.
Yeah, and the final battle requires a lot of careful thinking. It's not just about strength.
So it's another strategic battle?
Exactly. Honestly, you'll probably reread certain scenes multiple times to fully understand what's happening.
Haha, my expectations are getting really high now. By the way, my favorite stand so far is probably the world.
Oh, Dio's stand? That's a classic choice.
Yeah, stopping time is just such a cool ability.
Honestly, it's hard to disagree with that.
What about you?
If we're only talking about Part 3, I actually like Oingo Boingo.
Really? Haha. Why?
Because they're so weird and comedic. Even though JoJo has intense battles, it also has a surprisingly strange sense of humor sometimes.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Some scenes were serious 1 second and completely ridiculous the next.
Exactly. That balance is another reason why fans love the series so much.
Thank you very much for listening. If there's anything else you would like to learn about Japan or Japanese culture, please feel free to leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your questions and ideas. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again, and bye for now.